Bhavish Aggarwal's Ola Electric was the disruptor in the market, but now it is getting disrupted. TVS, Bajaj, Ather सिर्फ टक्कर नहीं दे रहे हैं बल्कि तेज दौड़कर आगे निकल रहे हैं. We will uncover why so many EVs are failing globally. इन कंपनियों के डूबने की कई वजह हैं, जैसे कैश बर्न, खराब प्रोडक्ट और जबरदस्त कंपटीशन जो हम इंडिया में भी देख रहे हैं. और अब यही खतरे ओला इलेक्ट्रिक पर भी मंडरा रहे हैं. We will understand each of these critical factors very closely. Finally, Ola Electric stock is seeing some activity in the market after touching its all-time lows. But is it really worth buying? और ये स्टोरी मैं आपको बताऊंगा आज 4 सिंपल चार्ट्स में. Slide number 1. Is Ola falling behind in its own race? Slide number 2. What's really behind its restructuring drive? Slide number 3. You think EVs are the future? Think again. Slide 4. Ola Electric on core failure drivers as compared to global peers. And finally, the slide number 5. Is Ola undervalued or overvalued or walking a tightrope? So let's find out the answer to these questions in more detail. In the Q1 of FY26, Ola Electric has reported EBITDA positive results for its auto business. But is that enough, to face the competition heat? Let's understand this from this chart. I have got, 3 big companies, Ola, Bajaj and, TVS. Now, if you look at the price range, Ola is operating from, 40,000 to 1.88 lakh. Bajaj is on a higher segment, which is close to a 1 lakh to 1.45. TVS is also close to a lakh to 1.60 lakh. So Ola, if you see, Ola is playing in a very, entry level range. Now, if you look at the battery capacity, all 3 are in the same range. Now, let's look at the market share. 20%, 23% for Bajaj and 24%, for TVS. Now, let's understand this chart in more detail. So, number 1 is the declining market share of Ola Electric. This 20% was 50% a year ago. So there is a massive fall from 50% to 20% in the market share. Number 2 is the high financial losses, for Ola. Let's understand that point also. Now, if you look at the 40,000 entry level, model. Now, entry level models made up roughly 1/3 of Ola's total sales in the December quarter. That was just 4% a year, earlier. So यहाँ पर काफी heavy discounting हो रहा है. So because of that, losses are piling up. And number 3 is the limited network, of dealers and service center. अगर आप बजाज और TVS को देखो तो they are very well established on the service side. So 2 points. 1, Ola is playing in the entry level where they are offering heavy discount and that is resulting in losses. Number 2, Ola's market share has fallen. 20% ये नहीं बोल सकते कि market share कम है because it's a new segment and everybody is trying to get a pie of it. So the real fight we'll see in the next 3 to 5 years how this market share changes going forward. But trouble है Ola के लिए because losses are piling up, heavy discounting, because of that sales are happening and the market share is going down. Now, this is a very important chart. The senior executive exits in 2024. When top executives walk out of the door and half the team follows, something is off. We break down Ola Electric's leadership churn and sky high attrition. अगर हम ये देखें, Savanil Chatterjee, Chief Technology and Product Officer. This is a very important post in a EV kind of business. Now he left in 2024. Anshul Khandelwal, Chief Marketing Officer. इन्होंने भी 2024 में छोड़ दिया. Now third, look at Mahesh, the VP Head of Sales. He also left. Now N Balachandra, Group, Chief People Officer, the HRD head. He also left. These are very important portfolios and these people leaving the organization doesn't reflect good on Ola's organization structure or the culture. It's a red flag. The attrition rate in FY23 was 47%. nearly half the workforce leaving within a year. In FY24, the attrition was 44%, and if you come to Q1 of FY26, 500 job cuts have already happened across engineering, supply chain, and customer service. Now, company is explaining this restructuring in a very positive way. They are claiming that they have this Project Lakshya, and they have managed to slash the monthly auto OPEX from rupees 178 crore to rupees 105 crore. So they are claiming that they have made big savings here. In any company, this kind of churn results in a lot of instability, and the new team which comes in takes time to settle down. So ये एक बहुत बड़ा risk factor है which investor should watch out in the coming years. Now 90% of the startup in the scooter space or the two-wheeler space, they don't survive. So let's look at this data where of bankrupt company. This is Energica, Italian company. It was a motorcycle company, went bankrupt. Reason was funding नहीं था और scale was very limited. Fuel is US based e-bike and motorcycle company, almost the same reason. So it got bankrupt in 2024. UBCO is a New Zealand e-bike company, and again because of funding, the bankruptcy happened. Then we have Bird Global. It's again a US based company, e-scooter company, and because of heavy losses, ये company bankrupt होगी. Van Woof, नीदरलैंड की e-bike company है, and उसके भी reason almost same थे, funding, and the global expansion got halted. So if you see a common parameter for all these 4-5 big bankrupt the bike companies was the funding. Like funding ओला के लिए भी एक बहुत बड़ा इशू है जो आने वाले दिनों में एक बहुत बड़ा रिस्क फैक्टर बन जाएगा. The only positive for Ola is that this company is betting big on the cells. This 4680 cell which Ola is making, and we have global giants here like Tesla, Chinese battery, the world largest manufacturer of lithium-ion batteries, CATL. Then we have another Chinese company, BYD, and the Korean, LG is also there. Now these global companies are way ahead in chemistry, optimization, cycle, life of cell, and also the scale. So while Ola is going to have big advantage, but there are also challenges here on the cell side. With China, some suggest that with China currently producing over 75% of the world, lithium ion cells, often at a lower cost, Ola's vertically integrated approach could struggle, to match global pricing and innovation, especially without any PLI support. In fact, even Ola admits, the full-scale cost efficiency, will kick in at 5 gigawatt, which it won't hit until FY27. तो वो बहुत अभी टाइम है जो सेल साइट में उनका एक्सपेंशन हो रहा है वहाँ पर टू ऑप्टिमाइज कॉस्ट एंड अदर थिंग बिकॉज सबके लिए स्केल चाहिए. तो ओला ने खुद बोला है कि इट विल टेक टाइम टिल FY27, तो उसमें अभी 2 साल और हैं. Now, इससे पहले चार्ट पे हमने देखा द ग्लोबल बैंकक्रप्ट कंपनीज एंड द रीजंस. तो यहाँ पर हमने वो रीजन को लिया है और ओला को कंपेयर किया है. Now, first is the market demand shortfall. India में there is a huge market for the two-wheelers, and this segment is also growing very fast. So demand एक बहुत बड़ा issue नहीं होने वाला है. Now let's look at the funding and the cash constraint. यहाँ पर yes there is a high risk ओला के लिए. They have raised recently 1,700 crore and currently negative cash flows हैं, and auditors ने already ये flag किया हुआ है. तो बिजनेस में अभी नेगेटिव कैश फ्लो है, तो ये एक नेगेटिव बोल सकते हैं. ओवरली ऑप्टिमिस्टिक कॉस्ट टारगेट, यस प्रेजेंट है. एम्बिशियस प्राइसिंग है, कॉस्ट इज वेरी हाई एंड बिकॉज ऑफ डीप डिस्काउंट मार्जिन्स लेस है, तो ये एक इशू ओला के लिए भी हो सकता है. इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर गैप्स इमर्जिंग कंसर्न है. वेल फोकस ऑन इन हाउस सेल्स सर्विस, India's public infra remains inadequate for sale, but इसमें भी काफी काम हो रहा है. So let's not say it's negative, it's okay. Intense competition, yes, very severe यहाँ पर. Ola's market share already fallen from 50% to 20%. because of TVS, Ather, Bajaj, and Hero. So all players are catching up very fast. So competition है, yes. And finally is the execution issues जो हमें ओला में दिख रहे हैं, are already visible. We have seen recurring service complaints, we have seen regulatory rates and software glitches. So यहाँ पर भी we can say yes, Ola is facing issue. If you look at all these 5-6 issues, Ola is facing some headwinds in each of these issues. This is a very important chart on the valuation, and we are not recommending anything. This is only for educational purposes. So I have and we are going to spend some time on this chart. So let's look at Ola's price based on 4 different valuation method. First is the EV to sale. Now this parameter we have taken because it's a startup, it's a loss making company currently, and it's building a business. So it's not right to look at the PE and the other book value parameter. So enterprise value to sales अगर हम देखें तो price 65 आता है, and this is as on July 2025. So you can compare the price and all. The rule of thumb अगर हम देखें तो 48 आता है. Discounted cash flows अगर हम देखें तो is also around 48, and sum of parts NAV का हम देखें तो 43 आता है. Now let's understand the valuation based on DCF because this is very important parameter. इसको जरा हम डिटेल में समझते हैं. DCF, as you know, estimates the present value of company's future cash flows, adjusting for the risk and the time value of money. Now इसमें 2 पॉजिटिव पहले देख लेते हैं. एक है डिस्पाइट द नेगेटिव नेट अर्निंग, Ola's Q1 अगर हम ग्रॉस मार्जिन देखें तो it jumped to 25%, and now they are targeting a gross margin of 35 to 40% by FY26 end. So current year end में they are saying कि gross margin will almost double, and provided if the PLI benefits kick in as expected. Second, Ola has still has significant portion of his IPO funds available to it. Now as on June 30th अगर 25 में हम देखें तो ओला ने रिपोर्ट किया था कैश बैलेंस ऑफ 3,197 करोड़ ऑन दिस बुक. इस सेल गीगा फैक्ट्री का जो कैपेक्स है 1,000 करोड़ का फॉर द ईयर इज मोस्टली फंडेड वाया टर्म लोन बाय SBI. सो दिस इज नॉट फंडेड फ्रॉम द IPO प्रोसीड्स. तो IPO प्रोसीड अभी भी साइड में उनके पास पड़ी हुई है. एंड मैनेजमेंट recently acknowledged that some IPO funds were originally intended to expand the cell capacity to 6.4 gigawatt, but now they are capping it at 5 gigawatt. तो capacity जरा कम कर दी है due to slower EV adoption. So they may redeploy excess capital into other strategic areas. So as you can see, Ola is no longer alone at the top. There are Bajaj, TVS, Ather, and other competitors are catching up very fast. So massive churn of senior management in 2024. CTO, CMO, HR head, sales head, everybody leaving the organization. And if you look at globally, EV startups are folding up. So it's going to be a very difficult ride for Ola in the years to come.
Hey everyone, only 1 in 10 viewers actually subscribes to our channel. If you're part of the 90%, change that today. Help us grow and hit the subscribe button.